I got a call from a Japanese diplomat, and he said, hey, let's have lunch. I said, great. So we meet at a restaurant on Capitol Hill. His English was so bad that we had to do the lunches in Arabic. We talked about the Israeli election, the Turkish election. We talked about the peace process. And at the end of it, he said to me, so what's next for you? And I said, I think I'm going to resign soon. And he says, no, don't do that. If you give me information, I can give you money. And I said, what in the world is wrong with you? Shame on you for cold pitching me. And I indignantly got up and walked out, and I went directly without stopping to the office of the Senate security officer. And I said, I was just pitched by a foreign intelligence officer. I need to report it. He said, was it that damn Russian again? And I said, no, it was Japanese. So he said, sit at this standalone computer, write it up, and I'll send it to the FBI. I said, fine. I wrote the entire thing as a memo. He sent it to the FBI. The next day, he calls me and says, 2 FBI agents are going to come up. They want to interview you. I said, great. I go back down to the security vault, and these 2 young FBI agents come. I tell them the story again, and they said, okay, here's what we want you to do. We want you to call him back and invite him to lunch and try to get him to tell you exactly what information he's looking for and what he's willing to pay for it. We'll just be at the next table. We'll listen to everything. The morning of the lunch, they called me and said, something came up. We can't do it. So do the lunch and write another memo. So I did. And I wrote up a comprehensive report. I sent it back to the FBI. Then they asked me to do it a 3rd time, a 4th time, and a 5th time, which I did. And in the final lunch, and in that final lunch, he says, I got promoted. I got my dream job. I'm going to be the number 2 at the Japanese embassy in Cairo. I said, congratulations. I shook his hand. I never talked to him again. A year later, I've been arrested, and we get discovery. And we see that there never was any Japanese diplomat. He was just an Asian FBI agent who didn't speak a word of Japanese, but he did speak Arabic. He pretended to not speak English.